Hi, welcome to a new episode of Breakfast at Ruby's. This is a weekly talk show slash podcast where we basically spill the tea on all the juicy topics of recent, and I get your favorite content creators to come on board and help me spill the tea because one cannot do that themselves. You need backup to spill the tea. So to
Sure.
my left we have Glenn. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, and to my right I have Yum.
Hi.
Yes. So feel free to introduce yourselves for a moment. Like we can start with Glenn. Like, what are you all about? Let people know all the goodness that is GlennAngel. Tell them, honey.
Hello, so I'm GlennAngel. It does look like GlennAngel. I am Dominican American, so I do prefer the Spanish pronunciation. I just feel like it flows a lot easier. I'm a
Yes.
variety streamer here on Twitch. I play a lot of MMOs and RPGs like Final Fantasy XIV, some of the other Final Fantasies, Dead by Daylight, and I've started many games. Have I completed any of them? That's a no. I have an issue. But I'm working on that. We're going to try to stick to a game. I also love to make content on Twitter and YouTube. I make these essentially meme comedy sketches on video games, specifically
Yes.
Final Fantasy 14, and I'm glad people enjoy them because I really enjoy making them.
Yes, they're so great. I was just giggling thinking of the latest one you put out. Do you want to
Oh, and
talk a little
also,
bit about that one? Because it's amazing and people need to know why I'm giggling right now.
okay, so I made a video where I took, like any other MMO, there are classes. In 14, there are basically jobs that have been staples throughout the whole Final Fantasy franchise. And I thought, what if we put a spin on it with, the Real Housewives? So I came up with
Yes.
intro taglines. So, for instance, White Mage, there's a joke where if people are dying, that in Final Fantasy 14, people say healers adjust, meaning, just get your stuff together. And so I just said, I don't adjust. I am the standard and stuff like that.
Yes, it was so great. Like even for me as like someone who barely has played Final Fantasy 14, I was like cackling because like you said, I am a fan of Final Fantasy, so like you could get some of those references even if they weren't specific to 14, and I was cackling. I was like, "Glenn, no you did not." So, yeah, definitely go follow him everywhere for sure. And what about you, Yum? Introduce yourself for all the folks out there. Tell us what you're all about.
Yeah. Okay, it me. Yum salad. Um, I let's see, I stream a lot of retro games. I do love me Nintendo games, so anything from GameCube, Wii U, 3DS, all that kind of stuff. I love to hit you right in the feels with those old school games that you grew up with. So you're
Yes.
interested in that. Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and everything else in between. So that's
Yes.
that's my spiel.
We love to see
And
it.
yeah.
Before we get into our topics, the show is sponsored by grindingcoffee.co. They are a lovely Black and LGBTQIA plus owned coffee business, and we're partnering up to get you some premium quality coffee, honey. They just recently added a subscription service to
With
their services. Yes, spill the coffee. Well, spill the tea, drink the coffee. What about that? Maybe.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yes, we love to see it. You're welcome, Grinding Coffee. Steal my tagline, please. But yes, they have a new subscription option that you can get your coffee every 1 or 2 days, weeks, or months. So you can get your coffee in periodic moments. If you know you're gonna consume a couple bags of coffee once a month, then get those couple bags and you get 5% off. And you can get 13% additional offness by using my coupon Project Ruby at checkout. So once again, thank you so much, grindingcoffee.co. Yes. I love it. um, Before we get into the more juicy stuff, I figured we could start with this topic suggestion from Glenn. And I think it was more of an icebreaker that would be good for like the beginning for us to get more acquainted with each other and for us to chat up a little bit. So Glenn suggested we talk about our favorite summer memories, basically because we can't have a proper summer this year. So let's reminisce about other summers that were good. I'm gonna start because I was thinking about this. Okay, and I was like, what are some like because for me I've always been an indoors kind of person, so like there's nothing that really stands out to me as like, oh yeah, I've done so many outdoorsy activities in previous summers. I was living, girl. But I will say that like as a teenager, I loved going to like water parks and doing like going to the beach and like just doing silly things like that. And honestly, the more memorable memories for me were when I would just basically play all the video games like all day and just like, get my snacks. Like I would either go to my cousin's house or he would come over to my house and we would like play all the different games together. We would do like basically what streamers do. Like we would read all the dialogue to each other. We would make the little voices to all the characters. Like we were living for all of it. So those are just some things that stand out to me as like cute summer memories that I kind of, well, obviously with the games, I can still do that. But now I have the responsibilities of, coming on stream and getting things prepared and making content for folks. So yeah, it's definitely a little bit different these days. But yeah, what are some of y'all's favorite summer memories? We can start with Glenn.
So I was very much the same. For most summers, I'd be like, "Oh, great! I woke up like at 9, 10 o'clock. All right, let's play a few games. Oh, right, it's now 10 p.m. Love that. Let's go."
Yes.
But I know some things that I really enjoyed going outside. So the city I live in, there is like this one specific strip of like a whole bunch of like stores, like shoe stores, clothes stores, and the like. And it's like it spans like a good like 4 blocks. And I know sometimes like with a few of my friends, you just go to like maybe the Dunkin' Donuts, the McDonald's, or the Popeyes, just have a little snack and just walk around. And it would be nice because it would be during the really hot heat, then go into maybe conditioning, maybe not air conditioning, and just look at stuff that we're not going to buy because it's either cheap or we're cheap. So
Yes.
that was that. But also, I remember last year, I took a trip to Orlando, and we went to Universal Studios, but also I got to take a trip around like Orlando just itself, and I went to like the public library, the downtown park, and go and like it's just going to other places, walking, and just exploring new things is what I really love, and I can't do that because I don't trust people because here, at least in New Jersey, it might have changed this last month, but I've been staying quarantined because I've been seeing most people without masks on. Like
Oh
for one
no.
person, yeah, for one
Not
person with a
this.
mask on, I would see 5 without, and I didn't trust it. I
Yeah.
didn't.
I don't blame you. That's very
I
valid.
wouldn't either. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. What about you, Yum? Do you have any summer memories that stand out to you?
Yes, I'm excited to tell you guys. Okay,
Yes. Let's get
I
into
prepped
it.
this. Yeah. Okay, so I like you guys, always a homebody. So I'm like, let me look through my camera roll and remember what was happening last summers. Um, but we did have a really cool story. The first time Togo and I had a trip together, so I thought it was a very special, story, I guess, because, my husband, first time we're going together
Aw.
and having, like our own little trip, So we decided to take a road trip to Memphis, Tennessee, and it's because of one of his friends were getting married. So it was a perfect opportunity for us to like, get away and do something new. So
Yes.
we ended up getting an Airbnb right in the middle of downtown Memphis and
Ooh.
just stay there for the whole weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, so we get there Friday night. Uh, we just hung out in the downtown, walked around, had some pizza, all that fun stuff. And the wedding was Saturday, but it was Saturday in the afternoon. So we thought, let's let's explore all Saturday throughout the day, and then get ready for the wedding. So we went to, I don't know if you guys know, but there's this pyramid, an actual pyramid in in Memphis.
Ooh.
It's it's like it's metal, so it's not like like an old school.
Right.
But like when you drive by it,
I was trying to
like
think of the logistics of it. I was like,
They just
yeah.
all got
So
the blocks together. They had the pulleys. It was
oh my
full on
god,
authentic.
I was like, how did they do that?
it
Wow.
sent them all the way from Egypt here. No, but multiple companies actually own this pyramid, and the last company, I don't think if you're not aware of it, it'll shock you. Bass Pro Shop owns the pyramid now. Bass Pro Shop, the store that sells like fishing gear and I
Oh,
don't know,
wow.
camouflage and I don't know. It's
Straight
so
people
weird, but
things.
yeah, I'm just like, oh, not me, not this gay boy walking in here.
Is it because the name sounds like one of like the Egyptian gods? Bast?
I don't know. They could afford it, so beats me.
They had the money.
They're like, listen,
Yeah,
we who cares about concept? We have the money.
yeah. So we ended up exploring the pyramid, walking around, but we were so far away from where we were staying because we ended up walking there. And so we had to get our asses back home. And then we showered and everything, got ready as fast as we could. Drove to this place that we'd never been to before for the wedding. And we pulled in, we started walking. It's really quiet. And we're trying to figure out like where, like, oh, what's going on here?
Oh
And then
no.
we're walking, and then we just hear clapping, and everyone's like,
Oh
and then we're
no.
like, wait, what? What? We missed the whole fucking ceremony. We missed the whole ceremony.
Oh,
We're like, we're
no,
trying to
not
like sneak in
this.
here, like,
You could just say, we went to
we're
the bathroom. We had to
yeah, we're
go.
like, I'm like, oh my gosh, don't say anything, be quiet, don't don't tell them we missed the
Oh
whole thing.
no.
And then we like snuck into the reception. We're like, yeah, we were sitting in the back, and yeah.
Everything was so beautiful. Oh my
Oh
God.
wow, I'm so
We,
impressed.
we didn't
Yeah,
want to like cry, make so much noise during the ceremony.
it was
Oh
definitely like the
no.
highlight. And then last part of that story, we ended up then that night for the after party, we were like, let's go to a bar. And I was like, well, why don't we look at a local LGBT bar, to see what
Yes.
the atmosphere is. And long story short, let me tell you that we walked accidentally into a leather bar full of
Well, perfect
I was,
after party for a wedding, you know?
Ve-
we were dressed like this, and then we
Very
show up and like
subtle.
not the nipple tassels. Oh my God.
Yes.
We,
Oh
we, we went
no.
in and we turned right back out. We're like, not this, honey. We gotta go.
Oh
Oh my god.
wow.
Oh my God.
It
So
was just
that's
that kind
that's
of
my
night.
tea. So
Yum,
yeah, that's my story.
tell me why. I thought you said that everyone was quiet when you went to summer. I thought that it was gonna be like a surprise wedding vow renewals for you and your husband. I'm like, wait, where's the story going?
I thought for
It
once,
was
for a minute, I thought like maybe you went into the like wrong venue or something. Like that's why it was quiet. Like you crashed someone else's wedding or something.
I was like, who are these men?
the big reveals. I know, right?
Oh my God, what a moment. Listen, you either had a choice to rip off everyone's shirts and like, let's go, girls, let's get into it, or you just turn around and you're like, let's rethink this after party
Let me just.
situation. Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Oh my
we're
We
gonna
had
God,
go.
that's
for two seconds,
amazing.
we're done.
I'm glad we left your story for last because like your story definitely outdid ours, honey. But
Girl.
yeah, it's great. But you know what's not so great? Oh my God, transitions. Ooh, we're doing it. You know what's not so great? The girls are fighting, y'all. Epic Games is fighting with Apple. They're fighting with Google, and then there's
What's the
Spotify,
tea?
and then there's everyone. Everyone has something to say about this. So let me
It,
give you the rundown. Yes, yes, Glenn.
it's like elementary school. One person says something bad about another person, they get into a fight, and then they start throwing hands, and then like their best friend was like, "Oh, why are you throwing hands at my friend?" And then they go toe to toe, and it's just like a whole big brawl. But the thing is that
What?
like the first person is much bigger than everyone else, but like all the little ones are just like going at it, and then everyone just gets suspended.
Honestly, that would be a perfect rundown of the situation. But for folks who are not aware of what's going on, so basically last Thursday, Epic Games decided it was going to be a good idea to violate the Apple Stores and Google Play Stores rules by adding a payment option to Fortnite that made it so that basically people would pay it in the game and not within like the store. So basically that prevented from the apps from taking their 30% cut of the revenue. So as a result, obviously the stores were like, not this, and they removed Fortnite from their stores, and Epic decided to lawyer up, girl. They were like, let's file a lawsuit against them. And they were basically saying stuff like, how Apple and Google kind of have this monopoly on each like operating system, and like when it comes to the apps, and like everyone has to kind of go through them to even be on those app stores, and then they take 30% off of the cut of their revenue. And so Spotify and Match Group, they're the people responsible for Hinge and Tinder. They also put out public statements to support Epic Games' decision to go against the Apple and Google stores. Y'all, what did y'all think when you saw this app battle royale? We can start with Yum this time.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Okay.
Why not?
Okay. So I have like a thing. So I was thinking about this last night, and there's something that like really kind of triggered me on that. Not only did they come in with the in-store option, but they made that in-store option for their own cheaper than the Apple and Google store. So they made it $2 cheaper to do it like that. So not only did they make that option, they also made it so like, why would you spend $10 when you could just spend $8?
Right.
And that's just shady. So they knew they were gonna get kicked out.
Yeah, because they prepared the video as well, like for it.
Right.
A full-ass video.
They really had the time.
So the other thing that really bothers me about this is that both app stores take the game down, right? But they chose to target Apple over Google. And the reason being is because they generate $43 million in sales in the last 30 days with Apple Store, and only 3 million with Google Play Store. So is this really about the issue, or is it just because they want more money? Because if it was the issue, then this should be a problem for both sides, but it's not.
Yeah.
Because of the $40 million difference. You know, and that's why I find it like, okay, maybe it's just greed.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be fair, like they're trying to make it seem as if like from the video that they put out and from everything, they're kind of portraying themselves as like the little guy who's being fucked over by a big corporation. We have to understand that Epic Games is definitely not one of the quote unquote small guys that is getting like fucked over by anyone, because they are backed by this huge Chinese company that has incredible amounts of money. Like Yum said, they profit so much off of Fortnite alone. They have their own store, and people were even talking like they have their own store. Don't they take a percentage of the profit from any developer that puts out their games on there as well? Like, isn't that basically what they do? It may not be 30%. I haven't looked into it, so I don't know. I don't know if that information is public either, but people were kind of saying like don't they have their own store? Don't they know how that works? And wouldn't they feel
Exactly.
betrayed if people circumvented their own store to like make money on the side when they had a deal to give a certain percentage of their profit. Like,
I didn't think about that.
yeah, I just thought about it right now.
Glenn's like, not this tea spilled.
Like, oh my god, these are facts, business. Oh, be prepared.
Yeah, but what were your initial reactions, Glenn, to all of this as it went down?
I'm just gonna preface this as someone that has no background in business and just a person with an opinion.
Same.
But I first, I just find the whole situation really funny. It's very much like, all right, Epic Games wanted to try something, and the fact is, like from this article, they're like they knew exactly
Oh,
what they were
yes.
getting into. They wanted to like have a stunt, and like the whole fact of like the parody of that Apple video, like very much making them feel like very Big Brother type of thing,
Yeah.
because the thing is that they know their audience, especially for Fortnite, is children, and this is propaganda essentially,
Yeah.
especially with the way that it's like it very much is a very gloomy look, and people might not like. I mean, the kids really can't do much, but like they can grow up with like this sense of like Apple's. There's something up with Apple.
Right.
And then, other people took this opportunity to be like, oh, if Epic Games can do this, we'll back them up too. Because at the end of the day, they don't really lose anything. They're not like influencers or content creators where like literally they depend on an audience. They can do this stuff. They'll have the lawyers. Stuff happens. Whatever. People are still going to buy their games. So I
Yeah.
see a lot of them just trying it out because there's not really much for them to lose because Epic Games has Fortnite, Spotify has Spotify, Hinge and Tinder aren't going anywhere. So it's like, I don't see any consequences or anything other than like maybe some lost dollars from lawyers. But at the same time, Apple is like, I don't know what the word is, but like they are like the one when it comes to like apps on the Apple,
Yeah.
just on Apple.
They have the
devices.
monopoly over it. Yeah.
Thank you. That's the word. Because like at least in Google Play, in that sense, there are still third party ways to like, and that was basically the whole thing. Like they mentioned, they weren't Epic Games wasn't going so hard on Google because they still have other options. Well, with Apple, it's a monopoly,
Yeah.
and I guess I can see them trying to at least like challenge it because like you see this with a lot of other like other companies. Like I would say Wacom has a monopoly when it comes to like drawing tablets, and their tablets are so expensive. And I think Elgato also has like actually let me not say that because anyways yeah, so you know so
Let me
Wacom has
just-
like really a lot of expensive tablets, and we've seen other competitors like come up with just as good a quality at a lower price.
Hmm.
So this could be like trying to challenge Apple, but this was very nuanced. Also, I see why Apple would want to keep their cut because essentially it's their servers, it's their platform. They're saying yes, you are allowed to have your audience play on our devices.
Yeah.
Unless Epic Games comes up with their own phone plan.
Yep.
Like Google. We have Apple, we have we have iPhones, Pixels, Androids. Why don't they come out with the gamepad?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why not?
The phone pad. Epic Games, call me.
Epic phones. I don't know. Do
Oh.
something. I don't know, girl. You're welcome. I want 30%.
No, I want 31%. Thank you.
Ooh.
Ask for more.
But like another thing that I was kind of thinking about, when I saw like Spotify come in, I was like, first of all, you're like one of the worst people when it comes to paying the artists for each stream. Like Spotify, like in the list of like streaming services, Spotify is the one of the platforms that's been criticized specifically by indie artists because they're the ones who feel it the most by paying them a very like it's like 0.00001 cent for like each stream or something. So like it's wild. And of course, like the streaming services in general aren't the best way for like artists to profit, but Spotify has been criticized for being like one of the worst. So people are like, sit your ass down. Like, who are you to talk, girl? And then on the other side, there was also a criticism before Epic Games from Microsoft because they try to put their Game Pass service on the Apple Store, but they said no because they said it was like it was harder for them to kind of like
Review.
filter the games and be like, because they wouldn't have control over what Microsoft would put on there, which I think was a weird excuse because like they have Netflix on there, and I don't know if Apple is like on a board meeting with Netflix being like, "Oh yeah, you can't have that if you want to have that if you want to have Netflix on our store, you can't have that movie on Netflix." You know what I mean? It's like that was a weird excuse from them. It just feels like a weird thing. Some people thought that Epic did kind of go into a dangerous territory by weaponizing a gaming audience because, like you said, Glenn, the gaming audience, especially for Fortnite, can be a little bit younger. And I think just from being in the games industry in general, just from streaming, we are aware of like the toxic fandom that can be present in some of these gaming audiences. So do you agree that it is a valid concern that like Epic should not be weaponizing their audience to go against anyone, like no matter if it's Apple, no matter if it's who it is, because gamers are, they have, there's a not a great history when it comes to gamers and harassment and stuff like that. So do y'all think that's a valid concern and Epic should have been more responsible with their platform, considering they do have a big platform? What do you think, Glenn?
I don't know because again, the whole weaponizing that becomes more toxic when it becomes individuals. Like a company, they're not really gonna do much to Apple. Like a whole gaming audience is not going to change the fact that Apple is, sells iPhones around the world.
Right.
My concern is that I think more about like, so again, a lot of the Fortnite audience is children, and we can think of the parody as being like it's just a parody, it's just whatever. But like regardless, like children's minds are different. They can interpret things differently, and a lot of times when when children process something, it becomes factual in their head, regardless of like fiction.
Right.
And I think back to like, for instance, Logan Paul and Jake Paul, when they've had very much like, they knew their audience was young children, and they would like, what's the word? They would just like encourage this really bad behavior. That led to stuff like people stalking the house, whatever their house name was called, or something. Like it's very easy to just manipulate children.
Yeah, I think that's why I think it can be concerning, because you're putting this seed onto like younger people's heads of like, oh, if something doesn't go the way that you want it to go, even if you were the one breaking the rules to begin with, you just like get a bunch of your friends together and you just harass that person or harass whoever it is, and you try to get that together. I think it's less of like, people like feeling sorry for Apple, and I think it's more for people being like, can gaming companies just not, or anyone in general, just not use their platform to weaponize their audience against someone else? Because then it becomes normal. Like, if a child sees Epic do this against Apple, they will be like, oh, then it's okay for me, if I have 100 followers, to do this against my friend who has only 10, just because they disagree with me on something. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, if we relate that to streaming, sometimes it happens, and y'all have probably seen that on socials, of like people, let's say like someone makes a statement about something, and then there's a streamer or a YouTuber or anyone with like a significantly bigger audience who quote tweets that and says something negative about that person. Then you have like those hundreds of thousands of people going after this one person. So I think it kind of perpetuates this idea of like, oh yeah, I have a big platform, so let's gather everyone up and let's go against this person, when, hey, Black lives still matter. Let's fight for that. How about that? Like let's do some good stuff for the world, But yeah, what do you think about what do you think about this like weaponization? Do you think it's a valid concern? Do you think people are being too sensitive about it, or what's your take on it, Yum?
So I feel that everything was semi-okay until they I saw that video they released. And it just seemed very thought out and very very planned, and I don't like the way they went about this. The video really, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but when you see it, you notice like they're literally just trying to tackle them, and they're using this bully um, mechanics to really like push down and try to gather other team members to really just beat down on Apple for whatever they're doing. But I I just don't find it uh, a good look for them either. I think they're also have given themselves a bad look for the way they're behaving themselves. For people to actually know what's actually going on and see the background of everything, not just for surface level, but understanding what it's like to be in the App Store and all things like that. They're being bullies, and I think that's not good behavior. I would like to also add that you said something about Microsoft. And I want to do a quick reminder that Microsoft used to be in the phone business and the smartphone business, and they had their own app store.
Oh yes.
And let's be honest, they had a 2% market share for their companies. I mean, for between the three, right? Apple, Google, and then Microsoft. They only had 2%. And guess what? Their service is done now. And
Yeah.
as of December of last year, their app store's closed. Why? Because they failed. And now they want to come back and complain to Apple
Right.
when they couldn't figure that thing themselves out. So, I mean, I feel like, what? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
not you trying to bully them when yours couldn't figure,
Exactly.
like, I mean, if, you know, you could figure out, maybe you wouldn't have this problem because you could sell it on your own platform, but you couldn't because
Ooh.
you
Ooh.
couldn't come up with something good enough.
Yes. I think it's this whole situation is so silly because we're just essentially seeing billionaires fighting about them wanting to take money away from each other when they're all guilty of being terrible in any capacity. Because like you said, Microsoft through Xbox, for example, Xbox has their own app store. Like people have to go through them and they have to be approved for them to sell their game on Xbox, for example. And I'm sure they take their own cut of the profit, And
Yeah.
PlayStation does the same, although PlayStation didn't say anything. But I think it would be silly, like for people who are very against Apple right now for this, it's like you don't go on PlayStation and you see a multitude of stores in there. You just see the PlayStation store. If you go on the Nintendo, if you open a Nintendo console, they're only going to have a Nintendo store. If you go to Android, they're only going to have, and so forth and so forth. Like I think it would be silly for like a company to put out a product and then be like, oh yeah, everyone else come sell your stuff here and give me no cut of your profit. Like, no, like that's not how it's gonna go. Like that doesn't make any sense. So I think it's just a silly situation. Like everybody it does that to a certain degree, even like with Spotify. And someone in chat said that Spotify has been very vocal against Apple, not just this time, but in the past. But like Spotify, maybe start paying your artists better. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe just a thought. I just think it's silly, like big companies being like, oh yeah, they're being so bad when like, aren't you all kind of bad in your own ways? Like, let's be real. You're not a billionaire unless you kind of step on everyone else and do some terrible shit along the way. Like, let's not forget about, the stuff that was going on in Mixer, on the Mixer behind the scenes of people being racist in the meetings and shit. And that was Microsoft. That was under Microsoft's, eye, and those people, they didn't say a word if they fired those people. They just said everybody was going to work for Facebook Gaming. They didn't fire anyone, did they? Interesting, Microsoft. I don't know. I just, it's just such a stupid thing. Like, I'm not going to lie, y'all. This was suggested in the chat, and at first I was like, y'all, I don't know if there's much we can talk about this. This is so stupid. But then I looked...
And look where we are now.
Here we are.
But then, like, I looked into it, and I was like, the girls are fighting. This is not just Epic. Like, everybody is fighting. And I thought it was interesting to bring up how stupid this is at the end of the day, because like Epic Games will be fine, Apple will be fine, like, and Apple is the one on top here. Like, they're one of the, I think they're like top 5, if not like top 2 of like the most profitable companies in the world or something like that. So, and they have a huge market when it comes to like smartphones and tablets and stuff like that. So like, anyone who doesn't agree with Apple's thing, like you're gonna be the one missing out, because let's be real, I'm an Android owner, but like Apple is like, they're taking over, like they have been taking over for a long time. So they're the ones who are going to miss out. Like, even if you have to give them 30% of the cut, at the end of the day, if you have that huge audience that the App Store will provide you, you're going to be making a ton of money, girl. So like, stop being that greedy.
And I feel like I understand the whole challenging the cut. I feel like that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you can try to challenge a company, be like, look, how about, like, we don't feel like having this much of a cut, let's lower it. But the moment they added that video, that's when everything changed. It's like, well.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not that they were innocent and they were like, let's try this store in-game and see how it works. Like, no, they did that knowing that they were breaking the rules and knowing that they would get kicked out. And then they had a video prepared for whenever they did get kicked out as a reaction to it. So like Yum said, it was so calculated and it was so like petty that like, I don't feel bad for anyone here. Like, girl, all of you just donate a portion of your... Like, how about all of you companies donate 30% of your earnings to all of the things that are going on in the world? Like Beirut, all the things, like Black Lives Matter movement. Where, open your purse, girls. Open your purse. Come on. Like, we're spilling.
They need to see those zeros.
Oh my God. It's It's so frustrating because it's like billions. Like, we're not talking about like, oh yeah, they're making like $100. Like, no, they're making billions, girl. Like, open your purse.
These companies are living paycheck to paycheck. It's really tough.
Exactly. Like, it's not like they're like a small company with like a couple of staff members. Like, no, girl, they're like multi-billionaire companies. Like, I don't feel sorry for any of them, girl. No.
And if they get more money, they're not going to pay their workers better.
Like, that's the thing. Like,
Of course not.
Even like, maybe I shouldn't say this, but maybe even Amazon, right? Twitch is under Amazon, but this is fine. But like, even Amazon, like, they're one of the most profitable companies in the world, and there's plenty of stories out there that talk about how their workers don't have the best conditions. So, and that's me putting it lightly because I'm on Twitch and I don't want to be shadow banned, but but it's
not
just
in the
like
shadow realm.
Suddenly we disappear, we get banned. But no, but it's just a small example. Like, it's not like them making more money, it doesn't mean that all of their employees will be well taken care of and stuff like that. Like, it's a system put in place for the people at the bottom to keep being there, and for the people at the top to stay on top. So yeah, we don't love to see it, but it is what it is. And I just thought it was interesting to kind of bring that up because I feel like people get so caught up in. I saw people being like, "Fuck Apple, how dare you?" All of this stuff, and it's like, it's really not that deep. It's really not that deep. All of these people are kind of terrible in their own ways. So don't expect me to get a sponsorship for any of them.
But it's okay, because guess what? Today's episode is sponsored by GrindingCoffee.co.
Oh, pew, 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 pew. Yes, indeed. Promo code Project Ruby at checkout. Ding.
And remember, it is Black and LGBTQIA plus owned.
Yes, and they are not a multi-billionaire company, honey. Like, they literally have, like, as far as I'm aware, like 3 staff, like the 3 people who work at this company. Like, it's an online only. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it's a very small company. Like, they don't even have a physical store. Like, they only do it online and stuff like that. So that's why I'm passionate about supporting them. Let's talk about what we're living for these days. So this is a segment where we highlight things that we have been enjoying, like video games, other content creators, music, films, series, anything really. So what I've been living for, I actually recently, not to kind of promote myself while I do the what I'm living section, but there was recently a music video, a K-pop music video from Super M called 100, and I actually filmed a reaction to it. It's up on Patreon, and it will be up on YouTube soon, so we love to see it. No, but it was a really fun music video. Without giving too much away of my reactions, it was really great, and I can't wait to hear and watch like the full album, and there are other releases that are coming soon. So very exciting stuff on that front. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been up to a lot these days. I was actually also a part of a closed beta for Marvel's Avengers, and they're doing it again this weekend, and I'm super excited to get into it. That game is so much fun. I'm not a superhero kind of person. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen an Avengers movie, like stuff like
He's
that.
actually a super villain, so
Yes. You cracked the code. Now I feel exposed. Oh no. No. But I really enjoyed the game. Like, I'm obviously familiar with all the characters from the Avengers. Like, I'm 26. Like, I've been around. I know some stuff. But the game is like a completely different story. Like, it's not related to the cinematic universe. So that allowed me to get into it and be like, okay, let's get into the Avengers in a different way, in a different story, and it was fun. It was really fun. I can't wait to play with people this week, because last time I played it, I only did like the single player kind of stuff, and this week it's open beta for everyone on PS4, so hopefully folks will be able to join, and it's free for now and stuff like that. So like, I would love to get into that. It was really fun. I was very surprised at how fun it was. Also, there's a video of me playing that on YouTube. We love to see it. But yeah, what are y'all living for? What about you, Glenn? What you living for?
Well, in case anyone doesn't know, the newest Final Fantasy XIV patch just released. So
Yes.
the reason why it's so exciting is because Square Enix has a good, like, for Final Fantasy XIV, the way that content comes out is usually like every 3 to 4 months, but because of COVID, things were pushed back, and we had a huge content lull for like half a full year.
No.
We hate to see it, but they were able to get all their staff to work almost to 100%. No, I want to say almost to 90% capacity at home, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And the new stuff that came out, there's a lot, but when I tell you, the story, the way that Final Fantasy XIV works, and why I love it, because I love stories. It's kind of like a JRPG hidden in an MMO. And the story for this one, I think, took me like maybe 5 hours to complete. Mind you, other people probably finished in 3 hours, but I'm a slow reader. I also was crying the entire time. Like, I was wearing my contacts, and I cried so much that I had to take them off because they were blurred.
Oh my god.
So that was that. But luckily, during that time, I'm actually, to promote myself a little bit more, I'm on
Yes.
the Ethernet stream team. And what that is, it's a stream team specifically for Final Fantasy XIV to create a very like inclusive, welcoming environment on the directory. And we always hold these week-long marathons during a patch where we each stream for 5 hours, and it's continuing. So it started Tuesday, it's still happening right now. I did my few spots and I had an absolute blast, and it's going to continue until Monday.
Yeah.
So if you're into 14, look up Ethernet on Twitch and get into it.
Absolutely. We love to see it. What about you, Yum? What have you been living for these days?
Okay. I got two things.
Yes.
Two things. Okay. The first one, which will not be a surprise to anybody that watches me, is I'm living for Fall Guys. Period. I love Fall Guys. It's so good. It's so cute. And Togu was like, not this. He saw the trailer and he's like, this is not for me, sis. And I was like, well, it's for me. So I was streaming two different games. I was streaming Pokemon Omega Ruby and doing a Nuzlocke challenge, and I was doing Origami King, like, switching between both of them. And then Fall Guys came out, and I dropped everything. I was like, okay, we're gonna play Fall Guys. And then everyone was like bullying me to get the Steam version of it. So I was like, fine, I'll get that too. So now I'm playing it in the PS4 and on Steam.
You love
leveling up two little characters. Two little
Yes.
characters, lovely on both of them. I won a couple times, and I live for it. The way I screamed the first time I won, it was so ugly.
Yes.
You gotta celebrate, you know?
It was like
You
such
really
a-
have
it was
to.
like I don't know. It was so weird. I sounded like a pterodactyl. Uh,
As you should. As you should.
Come on, Jurassic Park. Yes.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to like their updates. They said they're gonna do cross-platform. I was told that they may be coming in season 2, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
No, you
and
spending this
hopefully-
money then right before cross-platform.
Yes.
Right?
Right?
Oh my God, I can't. I will love to see that. And then okay, here's my second thing. WAP. That's it. We're watching WAP. We're listening to WAP. The music video is wild. I got a couple quotes for you guys.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
The one
ready.
thing is she's what's her name? I can't think of her name.
Megan?
What?
I don't know.
No. dude.
Cardi?
Cardi B, yes.
Oh!
Yeah.
Not me not watching the
Okay.
video and knowing the name.
You watch it so many
So-
times. Wait, who raps it?
Wait, who?
What?
I'm living for it, but like
I'll
who?
blame it on
who's-
the
who's-
English as a second language. I don't, yeah. So she said it was weird shooting her music video because of coronavirus. So a weird thing that they did is that she said she spent $100,000 just on testing for the whole team, because she wanted to make sure that everyone was tested from coronavirus before they did the
That's
shooting together.
amazing.
So yeah, that was a lot of money spent on budget on that. And then there was I don't know if another part of it is that they had a snake on the music video. I don't know if you guys have seen that part,
Mm-hmm.
but that snake was real. And the
Yes.
quote says,
Dangerous
"I
woman.
was naked." Yeah, she says, "I was naked, and one of them peed all over me."
Stop.
Snake,
Yes.
snake peed all over Cardi B.
She felt comfortable.
She said, "What?"
Yes.
I forget snakes can pee. I never think
No,
about
it's
it.
weird.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, no.
Because you're thinking, where's the thingy? Where's the
Exactly.
thingy that's delivered?
Maybe it's like
And, like, how do you
sweat,
feel
and they
it?
just they just drop from all holes of their body.
Ooh,
Not that.
not the orifice.
Just like it sprinkles out, and then they just like keep on slithering away.
A tiny sprinkle.
I hate it here.
You guys, everybody comes in for the biology lessons.
Yes, it's what y'all deserve. Listen, we talk about business, we talk about biology. Listen, get into it. I was kind of shook. Like, I haven't seen the video, but I saw so many reactions on it online. Like, people were saying like that it was too much, and that like people were kind of criticizing, because I guess the lyrics are a little bit like quote unquote raunchy, if you will. But like, I mean, don't male artists do that all the time and it's usually fine? But like when a female artist does
Yep.
it, it's like a problem apparently.
It's always a problem. Yeah.
Double standard, misogyny, patriarchy. Like it's, God, it's so frustrating because women are not allowed to be the sexual beings that they are, and it even sucks because especially Black women are so overly sexualized.
Yeah.
And now they're taking command of their sexuality, and hearing the song, it's just amazing because they're like, yeah, this is who I am, this is what we're about, we have sex. And
Yeah.
it felt very powerful. It was beautiful, and it was raunchy in all the right ways.
Yes. I always think it's so interesting that like women are always sexualized. Like if you see a video on like their fashion on an award show, RIP award shows, because they're not a thing this year. Everyone is like sitting at home in a gown, like in a Zoom call, like, hi.
Today we are celebrating the homies.
Not the homies. Not this. But I hate it. But like they always get sexualized, like with what they're wearing, what they're singing about. Like other artists, like even in features, like how many songs from like a pop singer have you listened to where like the rapper who's a part of the feature, like they're sexualizing the person that they're singing about, like they're singing with. There's like sometimes they're like flirting with them and they're saying all these things and nobody bats an eye at it. But the second women come together and do a song about like, yes, I have sex. Yes, I am going to be the person sexualizing myself because guess what? It's what I do and I'm proud of it. And yes. So we're celebrating that, and some people just like find a need to like just be like, no, you're doing it like, but like too much. Like you can celebrate yourself and your sexuality, but like maybe with less cleavage. Like it's like so weird.
You can celebrate yourself, but like not in any public space.
Yeah, not in public, not through your art, not through your clothing, not through anything that you do or say, but you can do it.
Did your husband give you permission to do that? What did your boyfriend think?
Oh, we hate to see it. We hate to see it.
I mean,
What would
just
your
tell them
mother
no.
think?
Think about
just
your
don't
mother.
Yup, you're right.
You know,
Just tell him no.
If you don't like it, don't play it. Period.
Yeah, don't watch it, girl.
Just
Like,
that.
open a different browser window. Who's stopping you? No one. Keep on
I am
scrolling.
very-
And you play it on Spotify.
I am very happy that it is out because I feel like, especially if someone tried to do that 10 years ago, someone in some place down the pipeline of getting music videos out and just songs out would have been like, no.
Right.
So I'm happy that it was able to be released, to be criticized. So now let's just get rid of
Right.
that criticism, you know.
One step at a time. One step at a time. We love to see it. But yeah, definitely. I've been pondering of whether or not I want to react to the video. That's why I haven't watched yet. I'm like, do I react to it? Do I just watch it on my own time? What do I do? So that's why I haven't watched yet, because I've been wanting to do so, but I don't know. But anyway, speaking of reactions and making content and all that stuff, before we go, where can people find you? What is some content you have? I can't speak. What is some content you have for people to look forward to? All of that fun stuff. We can start with Yum this time. Feel free to self-promote. Okay. Go ahead. Say anything you want, okay, unless it's within terms of service.
Oh. Okay, I guess I will not talk about feet this time.
Oh my god. I'm out of here. Bye.
I disappear.
I gotta. A couple things. Yes, we're playing Fall Guys in show. I am gonna continue doing my Nuzlocke challenge with Pokemon. Yeah. I am doing really well in it. It's my first one, so I'm a little baby Nuzlocke streamer who doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
Oh my god! For people who don't know what a Nuzlocke is, do you mind?
Oh yes, should
quickly?
Explain?
Yeah.
So the Nuzlocke challenge for Pokemon games is. It's a few simple rules. First one is that if a Pokemon faints, it is officially out of the game. So you move it to a different box, and you don't touch him again. So it's permadeath, you know. And then the second part is that you can only catch one Pokemon per area. So either a town or a road, whatever, and it has to be the first one you encounter. Not a
You can't like choose.
But no, you can't choose. It's, you know, the luck of the draw. And that's a big of a challenge because you might not have types that you want. You know, like I might, like for most of my run so far, I was going without a fire Pokemon for the most part. And I was like,
this is going to be an issue.
Yeah, what do I do? And so, yeah, so the gym leader's a lot harder because you might not have the type advantages. And so that's the second part of it. The third part is that every Pokemon needs to be nicknamed in order to grow bigger bonds with your Pokemon.
That's the fun part.
Yes. And then like my own part of the, my rule was that all my nicknames, since I am YummSalad, they have to be all themed around food.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yeah, so I have strawberry and sushi, and
Yes.
I have pork chop, and there's so many cute little names.
You have a whole
There,
meal.
yes, whatever
Yes.
you want, it's there, and so there's a whole bunch of cute little names, and so that's basically what the Nuzlocke is, and I'm working on that, so I'm excited. I really hope like and I can finish it, and so it can be a successful first Nuzlocke. Another thing I'm gonna be doing is playing finish Paper Mario, and then whichever one I finish first, I'm jumping into Twilight Princess because people love Zelda and so do
Oh,
I. So
Yes.
yeah.
I have
get up in that
never
That's
Twilight
played a
Prince.
Zelda game. I disappear again.
I,
I
I've
vanish.
never,
She's
I've
like,
never finished a Zelda game.
But
that's
you
fair.
you never finish games. It's been
True,
established.
that's already like the whole thing.
That's
So
the show.
it's okay. At least you tried, you know?
I did try.
Yes, but what well, you kind of teased about like the Final Fantasy 14 stuff that you're up to, but what else are you up to, Glenn? And what else can people look forward to with your content?
So as always, on Twitter, I love to post lots of videos. It's been very hard since COVID because a lot of stress, a lot of things happening besides the pandemic, and creativities have like dropped. But after this video, like it was popping a little bit. I have a lot
Yes.
more motivation. Also
Yeah.
on stream, you can find me playing some more stuff like MMOs, RPGs, trying to finish games, and I'm trying to add days where I have streams fully in either French or Portuguese so I can practice those languages.
Ooh.
I just don't know what games that have full Portuguese or French dialogue that I can
Oh,
just be like,
true.
oui, merci, salut, tudo bem.
Yes. Now there used to be a time where like their games wouldn't even have Portuguese subtitles on them. Like in Europe they would have a different version for games where you would be able to choose between like English and German and French, like all these languages except for Portuguese because they just I think for the longest time a lot of companies I still think maybe to this day they only ship stuff out to like Spain and they're like, oh, Portugal is there, but like they're not sure if it's its own country or if it's like still a part of Spain, even though like that was a long, long, long time
That was
ago.
centuries ago.
Not this.
So
Oh, they speak Galician, right? They speak that form of Spanish.
I shit you not, there's still products that sometimes we as Portuguesians see in the stores that are still like in Spanish, like in the back, like they only have like English and Spanish like translations, I guess, to things. So it's still kind of a thing. I don't know why, but these days more games have like Portuguese voice acting and even subtitles. I saw that like Final Fantasy VII, for example, they had the remake. They had Portuguese subtitles. So
Which I'm very happy about.
that is cool. I was kind of shook at first. I was like, wait, they have voice acting, but I was misreading it as per usual. I was like, oh, okay, not yet, but it would be fierce, like for a future patch, like to hear their voices. It would probably be Brazilian Portuguese because Brazil is way bigger than Portugal. But even still, their accent is more fun. Who cares? I love
And I think
Brazilian Portuguese.
I think that's why more stuff has been coming out for Portuguese because a lot more game companies have been finally considering Latin America.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Brazil's a big place. Like literally,
Okay.
if you think about if you think about it, South America, the most spoken language in South America is Portuguese. It's not Spanish. It's
Yeah.
Portuguese. Brazil is huge.
Because of Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil is huge. And they need to get into it, honey. But that's such a good
Yes.
idea. I've seen people do Duolingo on their streams and like kind
I
of
tried that once. I was bored.
yeah. I think a game could be fun. That's how I learned English. Like I would play, obviously, because they wouldn't have games in Portuguese. I would play them in English, and like a lot of the times to solve puzzles, I would have the dictionary. Yes, yes, y'all. There was a dictionary. I still have it, a physical dictionary, and I would open it and be like, "What does that word mean?" Oh yeah, okay. And then I would go into and try to figure it out in the pixelated graphics, like. where's the chandelier here, girl? What is that? Like, I was like inspecting, girl, and trying to figure out how to solve the freaking puzzles. But hey, it helped me out.
And look at you now. If I didn't know you, I would think that you lived in the United States.
Thank you. Is that a compliment?
Oh.
Living in I'm just kidding.
You're right. I take that back.
I'm kidding. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You lived in Canada. That must be better.
There you go. Free
The
healthcare.
accents.
Same as here. We love to see it.
Oh, Ruby. Something I wanted to throw out there, it just remind me of what you just said. I had something that you probably Glenn would like too. I learned English from playing Final Fantasy, and I did the same thing. I like grew up with the
dictionaries, yes.
Reading the dialogue of Final Fantasy. I really wanted to get involved in it.
Yeah.
And playing 10 Part 2, and then 12. And
those really helped
I felt
me.
like Glenn would be like, ooh.
Because there was voice acting, so you could hear what they were saying, and
Not that it was good, but
T.
It's another story.
At least they pronounce
didn't know
things
better.
right, and you could be like, yes, that's how you pronounce that word. Lovely. I've been reading. Okay, we're going so off topic, and we need to end this episode. But does this ever?
Do we really need to end it? I never end anything, so.
okay.
The never-ending episode of Breakfast of Rubies, because Glenn is here. We love to see it. But does this ever happen to you where like you read a word, like you've always read a specific word in a game in a specific way, and then the series happens to have like a game with voice acting and they pronounce that word differently, and you're like, I have been betrayed this whole time. That happened with me with Tidus in Final Fantasy X, because in the game, because you could customize the character's name, they never referred to you as your name. They always were like, that guy, that person, whatever. They never referred to you as your name. So for the longest time, people have pronounced his name in a lot of different ways, like Tidus. I guess those are the only two variations of that.
A lot of different ways.
So many.
Endless.
And then like they had a game, they had the Cydia come out, and that had every character was voiced, and they referred to him, and I was like, Tidus? Who the fuck is Tidus?
I mean, same. I've always called him Titus. What?
Yeah.
I got that way more with Pokemon. Like,
oh, yes.
And then the anime
Not the
comes out, and it's like...
Oh.
I remember the specific Pokemon, Mischievous. Before the whole like English change in Pokemon, when it happened like before like Sinnoh region, they called her Mischievous, and then they changed it like, oh, it's Mischievous. I'm like, who greenlit this?
Right? With me, Pokemon, I have a different relationship with it because I grew up with the Portuguese dub. So now I have no fucking idea how to pronounce anything because my always defaults to the Portuguese version, and I always try to English the Portuguese version that I heard, and I'm like, is that right? People are like, no, girl, I don't know what you're talking about.
Not this.
Was it a different name, or was it just like the same name with a Portuguese accent?
Yeah, it's just usually like a different pronunciation. I don't think they took liberties with their names, I don't think. I know that in France, I think the French dub, usually they take a lot of different liberties when it comes to people's and like names and stuff like that in anime. In Portuguese, Sailor Moon did have they changed all the character names to like Portuguese names. So like you had Sailor like Jupiter being called like Rita or something. Because I was like, what? Or like one of them is like Jessica, and you're like, what?
Not even like
Jessica.
Sailor Luna, just Jessica.
They named her Bunny, weirdly enough. Like every character they named with a Portuguese name, and then they named her Bunny because I guess that's the literal translation from Usagi in Japanese. But like, and I guess it would be ugly to call her like the Portuguese word for rabbit. So like they just called her Bunny. I was like, interesting.
Bunny kind of makes
weird.
sense though.
Sailor
because-
Jessica, yes.
But it's an English word. Like, What?
Yeah, so those are some of my stories when it comes to being bilingual and then pronouncing things on stream and trying to make references to things. Don't even get me started when people are like, "Oh my god, the opening song to that show is so good." I'm like, my version was good. I don't know if yours was, girl. If we had a different version altogether, I don't know. Yeah, maybe so.
I kind of live for the French version of the Pokemon theme song.
Yes, I haven't heard
like that
it.
now.
We basically
They go
have the
all-
same song, but it's just translated. But like with Sailor Moon, we had a totally different song. I sent it to a friend, and she was like, I'm screaming because I thought it was just gonna be a Portuguese translation, and it's literally a whole new song. She's like, what is going on? I need to show y'all this. Maybe I'll show it after breakfast. Because maybe they won't come for me because Portuguese copyright may be different? Question mark. We'll figure that
Spanish
out.
one's different too.
Well, Amazon is in the US, so
Watch out. Gotta go undercover for this. Get the alt account. Okay, we need to end this episode. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. You can watch me and listen to me. Just look up Breakfast at Ruby's on your favorite podcast services. Check me out at Project Ruby on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter. Those are my main socials. I also have a Patreon at Project Ruby as well. You can get early content. You can get not safe for work stuff because I'm not that confident, but who knows? Maybe one day, question mark. But yeah, check out the different tiers and the different perks on there because that's always a good way to help me keep making content for you all. Again, thank you so much to Glenn and Yum, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
bye.
Bye.